Robin Rossmann is Managing Director of STR, leading its operations across EMEA, APAC and LATAM. Hello, good morning to you, Robin.
Good morning, James. How are you?
I'm well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for being part of the ASAP Industry Leaders Live initiative that we've just started, and also all of your support for the association, STR's to support for this association as a business partner. We find it invaluable and couldn't do what we do without you. So thank you very much indeed.
It's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
So what we're going to do is just ask a couple of questions of you this morning, if we may. Might be useful just giving us a bit of background about STR and what your involvement is and what your focus is over this unprecedented period, if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully most people know STR. We track performance of hotels, service departments, hostels, various types of accommodation all around the world. We did start off with hotels, and we have about 70,000 hotels that share their proprietary actual performance data, as well as business on the books around the world. And in recent years, we've expanded into providing specific solutions for hostels and also recently service departments, where we break down performance not just in terms of occupancy and rate, but by room type and length of stay. And that's something that we've been in various stages of launching, and it is available in certain markets, not all markets yet around the world.
Well, we'll try and make that happen. But what are you seeing generally as a result of this pandemic, certainly in the UK and Europe, and then perhaps further afield?
So I actually just had a team meeting this morning, and what I said to them, and it's a beautiful sunny spring day here in London, and I said, you know, that the night is always darkest before the dawn, and certainly a week or two, or even just last week, I was feeling pretty bleak about how long it was going to take to get some sense of normality back. But I think, going back to that phrase, it's very easy to get caught up in the current news headlines and the negativity that is out there. And I think when you start to look further afield at China, how things have progressed in the US, and certainly, you know, news over the weekend that Italy is reopening for tourism, and there is a real concerted push to get things moving again. I think I'm definitely in the more positive camp. And by positive, I don't mean I expect us to jump back to the way things were anytime soon, anytime this year, or really next year. But I do expect business to start to resume at different paces in different places, but certainly service departments is one where I expect it to resume faster than most.
And we're hearing that quite a bit. I mean, one of the things that the association's pushing is the value of an apartment, whereby it's self-contained. If you wanted to isolate, one could without too many problems at all. So what are you seeing in terms of service department data compared with hotels in similar sort of markets?
Yeah, so we have about 5,000 service departments around the world that give us data. You know, it may not be by room and length of stay, but in the same way that hotels give us data. And, you know, pretty consistently around the world, we are seeing service departments outperform hotels, both in terms of occupancy and in terms of rate, or at least changes in rate. And it's no surprise, really, through this whole period that, you know, service departments always do have usually a bedrock of real extended stay guests, and they are, you know, less likely to go away when there's a short-term shutdown. And also, as you said, the facilities themselves, the ability to isolate and have your own kitchen and have a bit more space, mean that it's going to undoubtedly be more attractive to a wider range of guests as we start coming out of this cycle, whilst we still have to have this level of social distancing. And whilst hotels, for a large degree, will probably have very limited F&B facilities. I mean, the days of the buffet breakfast are gone for some time. So yeah, I mean, generally, depending on where you are, service departments all the way up to double the occupancy levels that are being seen in hotels, albeit double of a very low number sometimes isn't that great, but still, you know, a good 10, 20 percentage points higher.
And we're seeing a lot of interesting reports about different markets starting sooner. What fascinates us is there's quite a variance of quality offerings within the service department sector, from a mid-range 3-star product equivalent right up to the 5-star end of the market. Are you seeing any trends in different price points, quality bandings?
I'm going to say that's one I haven't investigated in great detail. But I think what is true is, those service departments in city centres that would have traditionally achieved higher rates anyway are still able to do that. So, where you have product that has been in a good location, a good quality product with the space that people need and want now, they want it more than ever. And so I think that, those that are positioned well continue to be positioned well, even if not even better.
And what about, different markets in Europe was fascinating in terms of who entered the pandemic before and after and so forth. What are you seeing in different markets? Spain or Italy, predominantly France and the UK, and how's that comparing?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing one that you didn't say there, but, Germany and Austria come back faster. There's their hotels were never forced to close. They were only forced to stop taking leisure bookings. Now that's being released, but they were never forced to close. And so, again, we're seeing stronger performance there for the likes of service departments because of the fact that the type of demand they have and the space that the product offers. And it's, I'd say in terms of all of those other markets, maybe instead of thinking about service departments specifically, if we just look at business on the books and what we're seeing is, we've been watching very closely over the last 3 months. And obviously the story all broke at the beginning of March. And I'll never forget the first webinar we did because, it was still just after Italy really locked down but before there was really any real understanding of the gravity of this. And what we had seen is massive cancellations coming through as corporates moved ahead of governments and started restricting travel policies. And ever since that day, what we've been waiting to see is where pickup. So there are more rooms sold in a month for the future than there are cancelled. The pickup goes positive because it's been universally negative since then, and we're still not there yet. So if you look in April, we still cancelled more rooms than sold more rooms into the future, and certainly so far in May that's the case. Now, I think that'll start to change quite quickly in the last two weeks and into June as we start having governments really open up. And when that does happen, I think we will get this sort of this catch-up effect where you have a whole splurge of demand that comes at once when they're able to get that confidence to book again. And so I'd say very much, for all the rest of those and including for the UK, it's one to watch closely in the coming weeks and months as people get more used to the new norm, and those that have the confidence to book start to book again.
And that's the question on everyone's lips. When's it going to be? When's the corporate going to start traveling again?
Yeah, I think it'll be after the summer, is my personal view. If you look at our business on the books in Q4 is roughly what it would usually be versus same time last year. As I said, I wouldn't count on that too much until pickup goes positive, but I think looking at how things played out in China, and the way that Europe seems to be following that, there undoubtedly will be demand that will come back, in my mind anyway, towards the back end of the summer, and then from September onwards. It won't be the same level of demand that was last year, but there will be enough to keep hotels and service departments busy, hopefully at least breaking even.
And what we've seen, just finally, what we've seen over the last few months is emerging new markets for service department users, which is, I suppose, inevitable in something as catastrophic as this to the industry. So how do you feel service departments and the ability that service departments have to emerge from this as strong as they possibly can? How do you think that's going to affect things?
Yeah, I mean, going back to how we started this, I mean, there are no winners out of this. but there are people that lose less, and service departments are going to fall into the bucket of losing less in terms of the product and what it offers in the world that we're going to be living in for the next year or so.
Well, that's fantastic, Robin. Thank you so much for your time this morning. It's really interesting to talk to you and get a little bit of insight. And we're pushing as many of our members to your webinars and your information portal as we possibly can. So really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, James. And yeah, just really thinking of everybody out there running hotels and service departments. It's not easy. I know everybody's had to make some really difficult decisions in terms of their teams and their staff. And yeah, I just want to say, keep strong, and we will get through this.
Stay positive. Thanks very much, Robin. Really appreciate your time.
All right. Cheers, James.
Bye-bye.